So it's my pleasure to speak to you today. My name is Rob Gilbert, and I'm the Director of the Medical Sciences Doctoral Training Centre, which is part of the graduate school within the Medical Sciences Division. And for the DPhil in cancer science, the particular role that the Doctoral Training Centre plays is that it is the university admitting body. So what we do is we help the programme to manage admissions, and we also help students through their course, managing the processes which they go through as they progress through their DPhil. And we also provide them with access to additional support, for example, including training. And I'm going to talk to you specifically today about the research training that is available to students on the DPhil in cancer science and indeed on other DPhil programs in the Medical Sciences Division. And one thing to emphasize from this slide is that the Medical Sciences Doctoral Training Centre and the Graduate School supports doctoral programs based in any of the 16 departments within the Medical Sciences Division here in Oxford, of which the Department of Oncology is one. But as you can see, there's a whole range of others, and they're based at 3 sites basically within Oxford. On the Old Road campus, which is where the Department of Oncology is. On the Nuffield, on the John Radcliffe campus, which is around the John Radcliffe Hospital, and there are a number of departments there, including some other centres for the Radcliffe Department of Medicine and some of the more clinically focused departments, and then down in town in the main science area. But one thing I like to emphasise when I'm talking to whether it's students thinking about coming to study here at Oxford, or whether it's students who are just arriving as part of an induction process, one thing I like to talk about and to emphasise is the overall picture for medical research here in Oxford. And this infographic summarises some information about the division, the Medical Sciences Division. It's actually a couple of years old, this infographic, and so things will have changed. There'll be more spin-out companies, there'll be more research income and so on. And clearly that's been affected by some recent events associated with the pandemic because of the level of activity that Oxford has been engaged in seeking to address the pandemic with vaccine discovery, drug discovery, epidemiology, modelling and so on. But one thing to emphasise is the sheer scale of the Medical Sciences Division, 16 departments, but very many buildings on our 3 sites that I've already mentioned. And indeed, we have significant overseas units as well, based both in Africa and in the Far East. And for several years, we have been ranked by some measures and by some external newspapers and other bodies as being first in the world for medical research. So we can emphasize all that, but a critical thing to emphasize about this, and this is something that is why I talk about the scale of the division when I'm talking to prospective students and also students starting with us, is that from my perspective, what really provides a key engine towards the success that the Medical Sciences Division has is our graduate students. So we have a large number of graduate students, about 1,500 graduate students within the division, and those obviously are supervised by academics, and they are balanced with an equal number, more or less, of undergraduate students. But it is our graduate students who really drive many of the most exciting discoveries that are made at Oxford with the medical sciences and the other sciences. And so it means that we are very keen to attract any student who feels they might want to come and work with us, because we feel that, well, we believe that they will bring insight and energy, expertise, and imagination, which will enable them to make the discoveries which are going to really help Oxford to continue to develop and continue to be a leading university in the world. And last year, the Nobel Prizes were awarded in 2 cases for work done in Oxford, and in those cases, students have played critical roles. So one prize was awarded to Peter Ratcliffe here in the middle, the Medicine Prize, and students have played essential roles in that work and in the programme that Peter has directed within the Nuffield Department of Medicine over the last 20 and more years. And then the Chemistry Prize was awarded also to researchers whose work had been done in Oxford, and indeed In fact, not only had John Goodenough been an Oxford academic, but Stanley Whittingham was a PhD student in Oxford when he completed the work for which they were recognised with the Nobel Prize. So that just emphasises how important graduate students are to us. And in the pandemic, graduate students have played a very important role in a great deal of what has gone on, whether it's vaccine development, whether it's drug discovery, whether it's trials, whether it's epidemiology. There's been a huge lot of input by students to that work, and many students have adapted their projects to focus on COVID relevant topics. So graduate students are critical for us, and for that we want to attract the most diverse group of graduate students that we can, because diversity brings strength. Diversity brings lots of different insights and lots of different kinds of perspectives, levels of expertise and areas of expertise. And so one of the ways we've been trying to encourage a greater engagement by graduate students from around the UK and around the world with our doctoral programs has been sort of our outreach activities. And one of those, focused particularly on UK applicants, has been our Unique Plus scheme, which we've been running for the last couple of years, joint with other departments and the other academic divisions of the university. And this is a summer school which aims to encourage applications from graduate students from underrepresented backgrounds to Oxford and to other universities. We're simply interested in encouraging students who are completing undergraduate degrees and those who have recently completed them, who've gone on to do into the world of work, to think about doing doctoral study and whether it might be for them the next best step as a way of developing their skills and developing their academic or professional careers. So, we are very keen on our outreach, and as well as this open day, we have 2 other open days which the Medical Sciences Division will be running this year. One focused on applicants from Britain and Ireland, and that's on the 21st of October, and one focused on applicants from outside Britain and Ireland, which is going to be on the 12th of November. Those are online events, of course, and the DPhil in Cancer Science will be represented at those as part of the Doctoral Training Centre representation to those open days. And we'll be emphasising there more how keen we are to attract as diverse a range of students applying to us as possible. Within the Doctoral Training Centre, just to give a little bit more information on the Doctoral Training Centre, the specific role that plays for the Medical Sciences Division and for the graduate school is that it houses our externally funded programs. And the DPhil in Cancer Science, which is, you can see here, is one of the newer programs. It's been running, now it's its second year of admission, and that we're coming up to, and it's been very exciting to develop this DPhil in Cancer Science with colleagues who are education experts, clinical experts, and also with the Department of Oncology and leads there. And it joins a whole set of other externally funded programs, and they benefit from the sort of cross-fertilization that you can get from bringing students from different programs together, economies of scale in terms of delivering of training, and we do have an annual Doctoral Training Centre symposium, which allows us to hear from different programs all together. But as you can see, within this Doctoral Training Centre, as well as the Cancer Research UK programme funded in DPhil in Cancer Science, we also have a British Heart Foundation Cardiovascular Science programme, a United States focused programme where students spend 2 years here and 2 years in the United States for US applicants. Wellcome funded programmes in cellular structural biology, chemistry and cells, and genomic medicine and statistics, computational discovery, which is funded by EPSRC, and then 2 other programmes which were formerly Wellcome funded, but which are now funded from university resources, the Ion Channels and Disease Programme and the Neuroscience Programme. And finally, the Doctoral Training Fellowship Scheme for Clinicians, also funded by the Wellcome Trust. And then these are partnered with funding that the university has, Medical Research Council Doctoral Training Partnership funding, but also funding from the Clarendon Fund, which is used to strengthen our externally funded programs, for example, by enabling them to recruit overseas students by providing the additional fees required for those students from the Clarendon Fund. That's the Doctoral Training Centre, which, as I say, the DPhil in Cancer Science is part of. And it's a very important part of what we as a graduate school or doctoral training centre provide is skills training. And that's what I want to spend a little bit of time talking about now, to give you a sense of the different kinds of training options that we have available for students doing DPhils with us that will be available to you as students on the DPhil in Cancer Science. And so this is a snapshot of our skills training portal on the website. And clearly this year, and I'll be emphasizing this in a minute, clearly this year we've had to adapt how we deliver our training, but we have. And our training courses are being delivered, and they'll be delivered very effectively. So more than 90 courses are still to be delivered as they are normally, and they're being delivered online and very effectively by our skills training director and her team, and outside suppliers when we resource for those. So you can see here that we have a central portal. The central portal also provides you with access to listable courses listed by topic. I'm going to look at some courses in a minute. Some additional resources, including things like online training that you can access, which is centrally provided by the university, booking process of course, and then find out more about the skills training provision and opportunities to get in touch with those. And the kind of skills, the kind of training offers that we make include research skills, and I'll emphasize some of those in a minute. Research skills, so specific things that you need to get more knowledge of or start to get some expertise in to help you do your DPhil. Also, more kind of transferable communication skills. This can be important for your progression through a DPhil because it might help you to develop your presentational skills or your writing skills. And then teaching skills, because we know that graduate students quite often want to get an experience of teaching. So we provide a couple of courses at 2 different levels as to how to access teaching and how to do teaching at Oxford. And then also courses which look into the future towards career development and the ways in which you might think about using your DPhil in cancer science in the future. If you're a clinical student, it may well be that you're just going to go back into pursuing an academic clinical career. If you are non-clinical, there are a greater range perhaps of different options you might be considering. But in any case, there's a whole series of career options that are available to you, and the skills training provision that we make available gives you access to that kind of input too. So what I want to do actually is share just some screenshots of some courses. What I've done is I'm actually using courses planned for last year, just because we're hoping that for candidates being recruited this time, it'll be very much like it was last year, next year. This year's a bit different. As I say, we have adapted to enable us to deliver our training courses online, but of course last year they were delivered in person, and next year every indication is we should be able to go back to delivering them in person again. But here are just some examples of the kind of courses we have, and I'm going to identify the way they fall into different groups. So first of all, I've highlighted those which are kind of courses which are going to help you to develop your academic skills and specifically help you through your DPhil. So you have a course in how to write a transfer report. Transfer is something that you do in your on the DPhil in cancer science in your 4th term, or between your 4th and 6th term, but usually in your 4th term of your DPhil. That's writing a transfer report. And transfer status, so you write your report, and then transfer status, you have a discussion with a couple of assessors, and then they pass you through. So that's one key aspect of the training that we provide, taking you through how to develop your academic skills in order to help you specifically complete your DPhil. Then we have some courses on how to prepare for teaching and learning, or how to deliver teaching yourself. So those are courses now highlighted in green. You can see here and here, which are to do with helping you to think through teaching at Oxford. We say that students in their first year shouldn't teach if they're DPhil students, but the first year is a time when you can be doing the training, which can then enable you to teach in years 2 to 4 or 2 to 3, depending on what length of program you're running, you're following. And then you have here some more kind of research skills focused, some more research skills focused courses, and those research skills focused courses include here using electron microscopy and data simulation. And then finally at the end, you can see here, we already had at the beginning in blue, we highlighted those courses which are relevant to getting through your DPhil, for example, doing the transfer, writing the transfer report. And here we are in red, highlighted courses that are going to help you to complete the DPhil, write your thesis to get ready for the Viva. Here are some more. There are lots of research skills highlighted here. So quantitative research synthesis, micron, advanced microscopy, that's advanced light microscopy, associated with our highly developed light microscopy facilities at the biochemistry department and the Institute of Molecular Medicine. Fitting data, statistics, lots of statistics training is provided through the skills training provision, and here's cytometry. But also, very interestingly, and this is something we've been developing in particular in recent years, skills courses which help you to think through, what it is to be a scientist and how to do good science. So, for example, how to work with your supervisor, how to develop collaborative and working skills to work with supervisors and other colleagues, more senior and more junior than yourself. And then also, very importantly, the questions around scientific ethics, how to do science as a kind of almost philosophical approach to thinking through what is the practical business and how do we make sure we do it well? How do we think through what we're doing appropriately? So research ethics, research integrity, and looking at scientific misconduct and how to avoid it. And two courses we've really been keen to develop more recently has been this research ethics and research integrity course, and also this course on scientific misconduct I've already highlighted. And a more recent development still has been the development of experimental design course, because we recognise that experimental design is something that that students need to have skills in. And so with Manuel Badoy from the science area in the centre of Oxford, he has a great deal of expertise in experimental design, and that's of course we've been developing and rolling out, and with multiple rounds per year. And that's something to emphasise about all our training courses, that we increase the provision to meet the demand. So if it turns out that all the courses are booked, we put on more, and that enables us to give students access to the training that they and their supervisors have decided that they do need. And then associated also with our skills training portal is what we call our Researchers Toolkit, and that helps you to think through both resources available to you now and useful for your DPhil when you're on course, but also planning for the future. And this includes thinking about what it is to gain funding, what training might be, public engagement activity, enterprise and innovation activity, and I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a minute. And then, of course, data resources and how you might access those within the university and beyond. So I already mentioned something about how we want to encourage students to think about entrepreneurship and innovation. And that's a real set of transferable skills that are very important for many students, we know, and the university has a number of ways in which it facilitates students getting more experience of transfer, translation, of entrepreneurship, of innovation. One of them is Oxford University Innovation, which is the university's own company, which enables the spin out of findings of technologies of companies from the university, and the university has has more spin outs than I think any other university in the United Kingdom, and those are cited at various places around Oxford, but including at the Science Park on the sort of southern edge of the city, the Grenoble Road end of the city, the Oxford Science Park, but also at the Harwell Science Innovation Campus, and at Milton Park, which is near the Harwell site. And so there's a lot of innovation going on, a lot of spin outs, and OUI is critical for that. And we do provide students with training in transferable skills and translation entrepreneurship, and we do this in collaboration with the Mathematical, Physical and Life Sciences division, the MPLS division, which is the other academic division focusing on science. And so now some of the kinds of things that we provide are shown here and here and here. So there's a range of different options available through the portal, different kinds of activities allowing students to develop skills which might be useful for enterprise innovation. And one of the things that's been really a big development in the last couple of years has been the establishment of the Oxford Foundry by the Side Business School in partnership with the university. And that's a place which provides lots of opportunities for internships, for developing new ideas, for developing outreach engagement skills. And it's an excellent, and it's proved a very successful aspect of what we do in terms of helping students to think through and develop options for innovation and development of their work. So medical sciences skills training, it's something which provides us, or enables us to provide students on course with all sorts of kinds of support which are able to facilitate the successful completion of their DPhil, whether it's the specific courses that we deliver, whether it's the online resources that are available that we can guide you towards, whether it's specific things that we can develop with you. And indeed, some of the things we've been developing, courses we've been developing in enterprise and innovation, are courses which we have had feedback from students they are looking for, and so we develop them. And in a few cases, with the students have directly input what courses we should have and what the content should be. And so we're very keen to be responsive and to work with students, as I say, as well as delivering to students the research skills, scientific outlook training that they are looking for themselves. So I'll finish there. I hope that's been a useful oversight of the skills training provision that we make. And at the open day itself, of course, you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.